Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Dozy Place on Government Street in Mid-City. Welcome to Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro. Jordan Kinch is back in the studio. Andy Isco with us today. Do first class, second class, and no class. We get into we're going to start with our Super Bowl props today, right, Jim?
Yeah.
We got,
both of our contributors, Andy Isco for Las Vegas and Ace Seminara for New York, given in multiple, like 2 to 3 all week long. So, Wes Reynolds and Randy McKay tomorrow, Chris Massero, Matt Humans, Dwayne Colucci, us three. So Troy Macker. So we'll put them all together, a big list on Friday, but they start trickling in today.
Yeah, it's become like, I don't know, is there more of that now than the Super Bowl pools? The Super Bowl pool used to be legalized gaming anywhere but Vegas. The pools were the big thing you did at the parties, right? If you watched one football game a year, you got into the football pool and you saw where the numbers ended.
Yeah.
And people still do that, but this has taken over, I think, more so than that if you just want to casually on a game, you don't care who's in it, you don't care who wins it, give me, $20 on this guy to score a touchdown.
Sports
or
gambling, this just in, Charlie, is a little bit more mainstream, yes. So we can do it have how many different providers? I don't know, 7 or 8, 9 in this state. You're either going to be probably going to be in a state or at a casino watching a game where you can put it down. And I think it's just, so maybe you had your $50 and bought 5 squares at 10 apiece or 10 squares at 5 apiece. You're taking that $50 and splitting it out on maybe, 2 to 5 props. So it's just about $100, maybe $20 a piece, whatever it is. So, because you have so much dead time in one game, and the games can be lopsided, the games can carry over. But if you do, have anywhere from, say, 5 to 10 props on the game, everything counts. Everything counts. So every play, there's usually some prop breaking down, or every other play, it seems like.
You can you can take this really seriously. And
speak for yourself. What do you do?
No, right. For me, I've got my go-to props. I like my 2.5 players to throw a pass because it brings all the trick plays most of them into it. I like to do that. I'll usually try
So you bet the same ones every year?
I bet that one pretty much every year. And after that, as far as player props, what I've found in the last few years, there's more value in the unders.
Yes. Yeah.
Because nobody wants to bet
for
something not to happen. So
if
you go down to player props, it's a lot. Like I said, there's more value in doing the others. I've had to adjust my thinking on that a little bit, and I'll throw something in there like a safety that used to be kind of obscure. Now that's one of the really popular ones too, or overtime, or whatever.
So this
something
is
like
60. That. How many games have had safeties? About a handful. Of course, the one we remember was Seattle-Denver. Started off.
It was the first score of the game, and you got a big score on that. You can do those things. The 2-point conversion.
Did they have safety in Denver, Carolina? No.
I don't remember that. Maybe. I remember the ball. I remember Cam. What I remember about the Super Bowl more than anything.
Steelers-Vikings.
Steelers-Vikings Super Bowl 9. The safety ended up being the difference in making it a 2-score game at the time. I think the game finished 16-6.
Right.
And I think the safety put them. If I remember the sequencing right, the safety made it a 2-score game whenever that was. Maybe I got that wrong too, but that was.
Remember, he couldn't go for 2 back then.
He couldn't go for 2. That was that game that was played in awful weather at Tulane Stadium.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Really, really cold. And
Seahawks Broncos. Their first score.
Yeah,
first score was and then nine safeties overall in the Super Bowl.
Okay, 9.
What I remember.
Yeah, we said that earlier, Max. We remember that when we were trying to remember how many. So 9 total, 9 out of 59. So yeah, that's 20, almost 20% clip. Just under it. So
Ravens and Niners the year before that, actually.
The blackout game. The game the lights went on the Superdome.
Who got the Baltimore had to get the safety to build their lead, huh?
Yeah, I would think. I would think. So so those type of things. I don't go overboard with them. Usually I'll throw a handful in there. That.
Well, I'm going to Beau Rivage, and I'll have a handful, and I'll make a handful before I go there because you got more options before you get there. Because all of your Louisiana apps, they're done. The BetMGM app flops over. They're reciprocated in property only. At the in the gaming industry, it's heavily geofenced. It's tightly geofenced. So I guess I'll have 6, 8, 10. Maybe 8. But I enjoy just kind of. I don't do this on every games. I do it maybe a little bit in the conference championship Sunday.
Yeah.
And then on on the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm sure there won't be a square pool. It's always fun to do it.
Sure.
It just takes no luck and stuff like that. It takes no skill, but I'm also for sure, Charlie, and I think this one I just think that this is going to be a defensive oriented game. I think that's the most dependable units on these teams, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
The part of the step up in class for the postseason for the Patriots, forget the second half in Denver, but it's been a much rougher go for them offensively, including their probable MVP runner up in Drake May.
Well, yeah, the ball security with him has been really shaky in the playoffs.
Well, he didn't turn over against New England, huh? Against Denver.
He had 3 fumbles. He didn't throw an interception, but he had.
He fumbled 3 more times.
He had 6 fumbles in the 2 games.
Right, I know that. He lost 4 of them.
Lost 3 of them, I thought it was, but yeah, he fumbled multiple times
against Denver.
Against Denver, he fumbled.
I don't remember turning the ball over.
I'm sorry. They were in the first 2 games, not the
yes, yeah.
Didn't fumble at Denver. Fumbled 6 times in the first 2 games.
Right.
I got my games mixed up.
Right.
That's still a lot.
I understand, but he
did protect the ball in the snow, but much better. There wasn't.
I think in a tougher time. I'm not ready to. I think he kind of cleaned that up. It was also, hey man, only way we're going to lose this game is if you do turn it over.
Yeah.
So please don't.
Once they settled in with the touchdown.
Now Peyton could have put a lot more pressure in. Let's see if he, they're down 2 scores. They got to force the issue, and him just in protect mode when you're down 2 scores. That's the whole thing. Just the tone, the style of play. He just blew that chance to apply that pressure on him. And I think Stidham doesn't make that stupid play if he's up 2 scores.
And Peyton has blamed himself right after the game. Now, he blamed the play call more than the decision to go, but I think he's probably second-guessed himself a pretty good bit on the decision to go as well.
This is his Achilles heel, though. He's done this as good as he's been. And has he not done a great job with the Broncos? Of course. He took over a tough situation. He took up a quarterback that very few were willing to get behind in Bo Nix. It made him very adequate right now. He has exceeded our expectations with his level of play to this point. That's fair. And, if he's average, dead average in the league 2 years in, he should only build upon it a little bit better, huh? And so, but man, he will do some screwy things. How many times on the bench at the Saints, he just threw away timeouts and challenges. Totally just threw them away. Not even close in some of the impulsive moves. And we know about that, whether it's knee-jerk reactions on the draft day to challenges to kickers to whatever it is. And sometimes when unnecessary gadget plays or unnecessary risks, and to me that just wasn't percentage football.
The most impressive thing to me,
and we've seen that before.
Yeah, the most impressive thing to me about what he has done is the enormous gamble that he took getting Russell Wilson out of there, because it was going to hamstring their ability to spend and assemble a roster, and that's the kind of thing that can put you in a hole for a long time if you let it. Ask Cleveland.
I think you're giving him too much credit, because who else has lasted more than 1 year with him lately?
Nobody.
Okay, so he went with it for a year, and he said, no way. I'll dig the hole deeper. I'll dig the hole deeper. But he couldn't afford to keep that guy in that locker room. No way.
No, but he cost him $32
million. I'm well aware of it. I'm well aware of it. He could not have. Where would he be with him?
Not in the playoffs.
The last 2 years.
Not in the playoffs.
Number 1 seed this year. So playoffs in Nick's first year, number 1 seed in year 2. No, they're not coming close to that Wilson. Give me a steeper hole. He realized, Charlie, he spent a year with that guy.
Yeah.
And finally, man, I remember that Lions game, man. He was on. I mean, what the hell are you doing, dude?
They were done with
his ass.
But if you make the championship game with your highest paid player playing in New York, and that's what Wilson was this year.
Yes,
I mean, you made a lot of other right decisions to correct that.
Yeah,
it's a hard hole to dig.
That's why the job. That's part of the coaching job is to putting the roster together. And no, there's not many that could do that, man. Now listen, they had New England was what their opponent's winning percentage was 40%. They were like 42. So it was they won. But still, they're well on their way. Said it's he's respected. But Charlie, just think of some of the more bizarre type of timing things that he did when he was with the Saints.
He was impulsive. He was impulsive.
Extremely impulsive.
He's gotten better as he's gotten older, but no, he's a little bit.
He does this?
Yeah, a little bit.
He does this?
Yeah, this was bad. I mean, I can't argue that. Maybe it's because I watch him less now. I watched every play of every.
But you know
Saints
what?
game
So what do we? But what do we celebrate? Also, man, he threw to a third string fullback. Of course, you're not going to guard him.
He did an onside kick to open the second half of the Super Bowl. I mean, if that doesn't work,
but I saw that one time, and that's not going to happen again because of the rules. You gotta tell them. So that's gone. It was big. I get it. I saw that one time. I saw consistently him. Remember the game that Breeze got hurt on Thanksgiving night? He completed Breeze threw 5 touchdown passes to 5 different guys who were all undrafted.
Yeah.
I mean, things like that he loves. He loves throwing to the back of fullback. He loves when they were in Dallas and Reggie Bush had that game on Sunday night and the fullback had
3 touchdowns.
He loves
Have you ever
that.
seen the list of players that Drew Brees threw a touchdown pass to in his career?
Well, that's.
I mean, the first 8 or 10 are household names, but the bottom 50, 30 of those guys you've never heard of. I can't remember.
And how many times is it not open and does not work? It works a lot. So we got to take the good with the bad with him. But just some of for an accomplished coach, that's kind of. I guess you got to take the whole package when it comes.
Zach Grace is a fullback that Lane Kiffin got out of the transfer portal from Oregon. He's kind of a fullback H-back type. No carries and no catches in his 2 years at Oregon. Strictly a blocker.
Yeah.
He's going to catch a ball this year. On a third down when nobody's expecting it, or he's going to run the ball on a third down when nobody's expecting he's going to score a touchdown.
Come on by and see us here at Doe's Eat Place for lunch, man. The lunch menu, we know about coming here for dinner. You come here for dinner, you get a hand-cut steak that is in a casual atmosphere, man. Some great high quality steak, just where you don't feel like getting dressed up, man. Just the old school tables, checkerboard vinyl top with the the paper towel roll as your napkins, but just getting a great steak, hand cut fries, great sides, great wines, and handcrafted cocktails. The handcrafted cocktails here, if you get one, they're made the same way every time. We're prepared to make sure of that. But also here for lunch, We got a whole different menu. We got burgers, chicken sandwiches, and po' boys, and plate lunches, salads that are not available on the dinner menu. And some of the great plate lunches, like the hamburger steak, the chopped steak that is flattened out, man, it is as big of a Frisbee, just hanging over the plate with the mashed potatoes and gravy, or the French fries, hand-cut fries with gravy. You do the spaghetti and meatballs, or those meatballs are giant, man, homemade meatballs. You talk about wonderful stuff. Do it as a po' boy as well. So in the catfish plate, different salads. You can chicken sandwiches and burgers, different toppings and aiolis, and however you want it, from grilled, blackened, or even that Nashville hot dipped, that's fried, that is really, really got a lot of kick to it as well. So don't forget us for lunch. Our lunch menu is available Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Dozy Place in Government Street in the heart of Mid-City.
Live at Doe's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, and the Handycast up on YouTube. Right now, you can get a full breakdown of the LSU football roster, which had another JUCO offensive lineman added yesterday. The roster breakdown plus all of the film from the transfer portal guys is up on YouTube right now. We're going to make our transition to baseball with the podcast coming up starting tomorrow. And all that's available, presented by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s.
You do reserve the right to get off of your 15 preseason ranking prediction, So just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm predicting that's where they're going to be ranked. No,
I know you don't predict them to finish. That's where they're going to finish.
Yeah, I think they can do significantly better than that.
Will.
Can I see him coach a practice first before I go all in on this thing? I mean,
we saw him play that practice this year. It looked pretty damn good.
You know what? When we did this roster breakdown, what stood out to me is the two things. Number one, the sheer number. Okay. We had 97 on our preview, okay? That's 12 scholarship guys more than you would usually have with the limits going up, and it's probably going to come close to pushing, right at 100 or over. So when you look at, especially the offensive line, it's like you're sitting there, some of these years they went in with 10 to 12, what you would consider guys who might be able to play, and that was including some freshmen that you didn't know what you had. So now you got 17. There's 12 or 13 guys in the wide receiver room. You got defensive backs from here to Christmas. So first of all is the sheer numbers of it. The second thing,
what's the numbers going to be this year?
They're
you said 97 last year.
97. No, when we did this roster breakdown last week.
What did Brian Kelly have last year? What was his roster?
Probably 82 or 83.
And this is going to be 100.
You can go to 105
okay.
is the limit. Kelly was probably pretty close to that. Started with that close to the limit of scholarship athletes without looking at it. But, you add 12 to 15 more, it looks like a lot. The other thing is the balance in it. There are stars, and there are guys that I would be shocked if they started, but come with some experience in backup roles. Some of these offensive linemen have played an awful lot of either JUCO football or smaller college football. The wide receivers, you get a kid out of a Division II school, but he played 20 some odd games for the Division II school. So there's a lot of balance in this thing. There's no glaring holes. It's just a matter of making it all mesh. I got you all the ingredients for the gumbo. I just need you to, blend it to where, and that's his that's his job.
Lot of effort, lot of budget, lot of building to have a 15. And I don't care how bad they hate him. That's you know. Maybe this is prep work to be on the Hall of Fame committee or something.
I'm going to get to that later. But you know what? I told you two things I thought would contribute to his ranking being a little bit lower. That you just talked about. One, the media's dislike for him, so the AP poll, I expected him to be docked. The one thing that would make me change my prediction of where they're going to be ranked in the preseason would be reports of Sam Levitt. If Sam Levitt comes out of summer and the reports are this guy looks fantastic, there are no lingering problems with the foot injury, that would cause me to change my mind on where they may be ranked preseason, because we know what do they go on? You go on starting quarterbacks and it used to be returning starters, but that's a thing of the past now. Because returning starters from your school or somewhere else. So if Levitt comes out of the summer with a clean bill of health and everybody says, "Look, this guy's great," then I would suggest that would affect him.
It certainly affected the preseason poll last year because Penn State had the most returning and they were number 2, so they did give him a lot of credit for that. Clemson was probably number 2, and they had them, top 5.
No, I didn't mean that it's still not a big deal. And
well, no, it did. It's going to be one thing that voters don't like is to be wrong, and so they are going to put less emphasis on returning starters after getting burned with Clemson and Penn State last year.
What I meant was there are a lot less returning starters across the board, and you have to say, like, is Sam Levitt a returning starter for LSU? No, but he's a returning starter. He was a starter somewhere else. Jordan Seaton's not a returning.
Well, everybody who updates their stuff you got to look Levitt as a returning starter.
So you count a Jordan Seaton, a Sam Levitt, you count them as returning starters, okay? Now, those two guys are extreme examples because they're right at the top of LSU's board. But say a guy like Aliou Ba, who started 24 games at Maryland. Is he going to be at LSU a top flight lineman? The thing is, at least he's playing, power 4 level, experience. You bringing in guys from, D2, JC. That's where it gets tricky, and that's where the better ones they can't give credit to guys. A guy with SEC or Big Ten experience has to be graded higher than a guy that's coming from a lower level. Although we've seen a lower level, some of them do some. There's some that don't pan out. Right. I know that he got 42 guys in the transfer portal. I know all of them aren't going to play, and I certainly know all of them aren't going to play at a high level. The math just doesn't work. But if enough of them do, so that was the balance in the roster, the number of players in the roster. And let me tell you something. Since they sort of put the roster to bed, I know they added a guy yesterday. The amount of places that they are, I know you discount the social media thing a little bit, but him posting a picture with a different high school kid every day, in a different high school every day, his staff in different high schools every day, all of that since they finished up with the portal work a week and a half ago. I don't know how much it would move a ranking or anything like that. I can tell you this, it's getting the fan base charged up as hell.
Well, how many times you see Brian Kelly go post a picture he's at a high school?
Very few. Very few.
Name one.
You would see him with recruits in their homes a lot of times, but in front
in the homes?
Some.
Or on LSU's campus.
It's not like more from the campus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Some of them, I don't want to say he never did it, but compared to this,
all
not
right,
even
tell
close.
Me, how many high school games had he been to?
Very few.
Name one.
I don't ever remember seeing a picture of him at a high school game. I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm just saying I never saw a picture of him.
A lot of people around here were scared to label him lazy. I mean, you could look at the first couple of rosters and say, man, this guy's lazy. He's lazy. He had I didn't want to say phoned it in. I kind of grabbed, but I mean, he put it on cruise control. Kiffin is going to document his work, whether it's, not that we need proof, but it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt.
You can label it self-promoting, but I would label it as energizing the fan base at this point, especially coming from – you want to go back to the first year, Kelly? He went radio silence from the day he got the job until like the middle of February. you never saw him. You
Yeah,
never
you
heard
were
from him.
you had called that out. Yes.
Yeah. This. Oh, okay. Is it going to help LSU win a game next year that he posts a picture with a kid in a high school right now? Maybe not, but it certainly doesn't hurt. It gets another. If it gets one more donor excited to the point where they write a check, all of those things. That's a part of. That's what the basketball coach doesn't quite get.
I think
your part of your job is to do some of this other stuff, and it may require
you're a fundraiser.
you to do. You're required to promote the program a little bit. It's more than just going to practice and recruiting. You gotta do some of this.
Well,
stuff
he's good
now.
at it.
Yeah,
he's
is.
very social media proficient, and it's also a way to connect with that age demographic that he's recruiting from.
Yeah,
and it's not just but it's the guy's buddies. It's the guy's the prospects' classmates. They're all following him. See how many just kids that are in high school right now. It's pretty much every kid is following Kiffin. High school kid in Baton Rouge. How many follow Kelly? Yeah. So I mean, it's just so even though there's a buzz, so he's covered all that angle. So, I mean, no, he's working. Charlie got the runs to the playoff, man. Come on, man.
That's pretty good.
I mean, he got him to a playoff win. Got him to the semifinals. Heck, they were less than a minute away from going to the championship game. And don't give me he didn't coach him, okay? Because he was singly the most, he was most responsible for them them making that run. Let's not talk that nonsense.
No.
So.
One more picture, and then we'll move on. And I don't know who posted this first, but it made the rounds this weekend. It's Kiffin in Houston talking to a group. I don't know if you saw this picture. It's in what looks like a suite or a very nice hotel room or whatever.
Okay.
This is a group of boosters.
It's Houston, basically Houston alumni base, sort of donor function.
I would imagine that there were a few people in that room wrote a check before he left. I'm just guessing. He's
would
there.
hope so.
He's there. His general manager, Glasscock, is there. They're telling the story. I'm guessing. I wasn't there, so I'm just speculating.
Charlie, he excited. LSU donors, they have reason to give more. He had to wake up the living dead in Oxford. If he can get that fan base excited to where they're competitive in the portal, this is a piece of cake. And he knows that.
He is, at the moment, preaching to the choir. Yes.
He's very popular before he kicks off the first time.
Undefeated. Undefeated.
I mean, you changed your tone on him quite a lot.
Kiffin?
You used to take some shots at him.
You did too.
Absolutely. I'm not taking anything back.
No.
I mean, like I said, oh man, he seems like he's more, but no, he ain't more mature.
He's just older.
But I also said that how many times I talked about his winning conference winning percentage, which is as good as Johnny Vaught, and I've been saying that for years. And we both said, when asked by humans a year and a half ago, well, if Kelly had to make a change, this is the guy. He'd be number one on the list.
You get the whole package.
Get the whole package. Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive on Seagan Lane. My buddy Jason Payne at K&M. He's at Seagan near Perkins. It's the only place I take my vehicle is K&M Automotive. Why? Because he's going to give you an honest deal, man. You've heard the horror stories about going to a mechanic, you get some service work on your car, and wait, you paid what to get what done? Not going to happen. 8445 Seagan, just off of Perkins, across Seagan rather, from Ambrosia Bakery. Check engine light comes on, bring it in. Belts and hoses, general services, undercar services. Sometimes your tires can get off with this cold weather and stuff like that. Do tire work as well, transmission, electrical, even AC service when we need it just around the corner. It's the only place I take my vehicle. You do the same. Call my friend Jason Payne at 636-2875. They're up at 7:30 a.m., 4 p.m., Monday through Friday at 8445 Seagan Lane, just off of Perkins.
Live at Doe's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
From Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
And return here at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City.
All right, Andy, how you doing, buddy? Getting ready for the Super Bowl?
I'm doing fine. I managed to survive the first weekend in months without real football. I mean, we did have the Senior Bowl, but I guess I got to get used to it for the next 4 or 5 months as well. But, yes, I'm looking forward to the game. It's a very compelling matchup, and as is usually the case, you can make more reasons for each team than reasons against each team.
Feel sorry for our friends on NFL Live, our colleagues like Laura Rutledge and Orlovsky and that crew when they were trying to talk about the positive things about the Pro Bowl and just how how it's cool.
That's a tough sell.
You know, I mean, it's a tough sell.
That's a tough sell,
Charlie. I mean,
that is a tough
all right,
sell.
let's get to the real stuff. Shedeur Sanders, he had more.
It's a tough sell, man.
Yeah, that's just out there. You know,
that's like being a publicist for the Cleveland Browns, man. Your job is hard.
If you still caring about if it's still a competition that has to be the worst touchdown interception ratio that's ever participated.
You ever see Max show up after one of his shows in Cleveland? He just looks worn out. Okay,
he does. He does. He does. My man Adam the Bull. All right, let's get to the game. It is at 4.5. Let me get the exact line right now. It's kind of stayed at 4.5, and it's at 4.5 minus 15 at our friends here locally, Bally's and the Queen, a DraftKings outlet. 45.5 is the total. Andy.
Yeah, there are a couple of fives at some major books out here in Vegas. At least there were as of last night. Westgate and South Point have been at 5 since Sunday, I believe it was. And it'll probably float back and forth. When I did my, let's call it, scheduled strength adjusted power ratings, which basically goes from who you played, what was expected of you in that game, and how you did versus expectations. And there's 3 separate sets of ratings. And basically, when you average them all out, as I like to do, my line came out to basically 4.3. So the line is pretty much exactly where I would have had it. So that does take care of a little bit of a quality of competition. Now, for most Super Bowls, I usually have a pretty good idea early in that first week which side I like. Last year, there was no question about it that I liked Philadelphia over Kansas City. This year, it's been a lot more difficult. I ended up ultimately looking at a number of factors, and it gets me to the Patriots plus the points here. I'm not quite sure yet if I'm ready to say they're going to win the game, but that's the side that I played at the plus 5. Don't know if I'll get involved a little more. May do a little bit money line play on that. My main concern about the Patriots is the fact that in their 3 playoff games, Drake May was sacked 5 times in each game. Now, keep in mind they were going up against pretty good defenses. I think they were all top 10 defenses in the Chargers, the Texans, and the Broncos. Now, of course, we're hearing some things about his shoulder and all that, and I think a lot of it comes from the fact that he sort of mentioned it that he's been throwing a football 4 or 5 days a week since August. This will be game number 20 for Drake May this year. Okay, he played 13 games last year after he was being named starter. He played 13 games in college, so now he's playing about 50% more games than he's ever played before in his career, and as a result, fatigue could set in. So I think the 2 weeks off, at least from the shoulder standpoint, won't be a factor. Another thing is, take a look, and I'm sure you probably had guests who already talked about it either last week or this week, the remarkable record of underdogs in the Super Bowl going back really about 20 years. The results, I forget what it is. I know that I think in the last
Max, what is it?
14 Super Bowls, I think underdogs are 10-4 straight up and 11-3 against the spread. And this is actually the largest underdog line we've had probably in about 6 or 7 years. I think we had 4.5 when the Rams played the Bengals, and then you have to go several years before that to find a larger point for it. And keep in mind, one of the rare favorites that covered in this time was the Patriots in their overtime game against Atlanta, where they were laying, I think it was 3 or 3.5, and ended up getting the touchdown that normally would be a field goal to win the Super Bowl. So underdogs have done extremely well. I like the experience that Vrabel has, both as a player and a coach. I think that adds some stability. I think the one leader that you have as far as experience goes on Seattle is Cooper Kupp because of his performance a few years ago with the Rams. So I think that there's a little bit of stability there. When I talked about Drake May and the Sackies, one of the props that I played, I got it at a plus price. I forget, I think it's plus 110, that the Seahawks would have more than 3.5 sacks in that game.
Let's get to the picks, Andy, before we run out of time. So first of all, that's your first prop pick, and that is Seattle's defense. Seattle's defense over 3.5 sacks is minus 110. So the lack of protection, again, 5 sacks in each game, coming in. Yeah. Seattle certainly qualifies as a top 10 defense coming into that one. So that's your first one. The second one is there will be a defensive or special teams TD plus 270.
Yeah, and that's one that I play almost every year, and it's cashed more often than not since I started playing it about 10, 15, well, actually closer to 20 years ago now. Both teams have very good defenses. Both teams have quarterbacks making their first start in the Super Bowl. There could be a case of nerves. There could be a case of indecisions. And, again, with both defenses, figure both quarterbacks are going to face some pressure. So I would not be surprised if there is if one, if not both of those teams are capable of scoring on defense, or in the case of Seattle, special teams.
All right, 2 more. The next one. The team that scores first will not win the game is plus 145.
Yeah, I think it had been 3 years in a row that the first team score first did not win the game. Last year, Philadelphia scored first and more than that, and they won. But if I go back 10, 15 years, scoring first is basically a case of who gets the first opportunity, and a very conservatively played first quarter. And I've got plus 145 on something that I think should be priced a little bit closer to maybe minus 120 at most.
And then your final one, and that is Rashid Shaheed, anytime TD plus 375.
Yeah, remember, he started the year with New Orleans, came over, took a while to get acclimated. They've used him a little bit more recently, and, of course, also being a kick returner, he has an added possibility of getting a special teams touchdown, which would help that other prop, but also in addition to receiving. He had that big play last week, and I would expect that he'll have an opportunity to get some of course, and Gribb is going to be the, JSN is going to be the primary target. I think you'll see some double teams on Shaheed, but you also have to be aware that Cooper Kupp is also an option. And I like the fact that he's going to have multiple opportunities to score either by kick return or by receptions. I think it gets at plus 375. I thought it was a very attractive price.
All right, so that's your props. Again, we'll go over them again on Friday. But what you were hitting on earlier is the dogs, and it's really a classification of dogs that is over a field goal and under a touchdown. Those 3.5 to 6.5 point spreads. I mean, the underdogs are covering at an enormous rate and winning the games outright, Max.
Yeah, in the last 6 of those instances that you mentioned, dating back to Super Bowl 43, the underdogs have covered as a 4.5 to 6.5 point dog in all 6 of those outcomes, including 4 outright wins.
Which games are those? So, Carolina underdog against Cam Newton. I mean, Denver underdog.
Yeah, they won outright. You saw the Eagles as 4.5 point dogs.
Nick Foles.
With Nick Foles outright. You saw the Ravens were dogs against the Niners in the Superdome.
Right.
They won outright. And then the Saints were also 4.5 point underdogs and beat the Colts, as we know, in Super Bowl 44.
Yeah, and as you talked about, Andy, there were 3.5s, a lot of 3.5s out there for that Super. That was before both teams were, got a possession. And Atlanta's defense was absolutely dead in that game. Keep in mind, they had to score 3 touchdowns, but they had to convert 3 2-point conversions as well. And, they were so dead at the end.
Keep in mind that Seattle has won something like 13 of 14, and New England's won 16 of 17. And 2 of their 3 losses came in, to the Raiders and to I believe it was the Steelers in the first 3 weeks of the season when you had a new coach and a new system in place there with with Drake May getting all the preparation time. So I've always felt that unless you're like a 10-6 team, if you're good enough to win 2 or 3 games to get to the Super Bowl, you're good enough to win the Super Bowl, especially if you're not going up against what I would call an outstanding team, like a 15-2 or 16-1 type team. Both of these teams had the same regular season record of 14-3. Hey, they've already won elimination games to get here, and now you're getting more than 4 points. I think that it almost has to be an automatic play. Doesn't mean Seattle won't win by a margin, but that's not the way I think to bet it.
All right, New England +5. Seattle defense over 3.5 sacks. Defensive special teams TD. That's +270 for either team. Team that scores first does not win the game. +45 in Shaheed. Anytime TD +375. Andy, thanks again for your contributions all season long, especially football Sunday. Not as a monster, but a profitable year again, and finished out one of our second to last weeks was unbelievable as well. You're a big part of it. We'll continue to talk to you on a Tuesday, but certainly wanted to put that in our gratitude for having you a part of Football Sunday. Another profitable run.
I appreciate it. You guys are fantastic. I listen to you a lot when I'm not on with you because I use such great content and such great guests. Appreciate being a part of it, and now we'll start talking some more college hoops next week.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Andy. Good luck to you, buddy.
You too, guys. Thank you.
All right, don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. If your homeowners association requires wood windows in your neighborhood like mine, there's nobody to call but Relief Windows. It's not just windows. We do doors, siding, shutter, shades as well. Now, the windows, you can do those wood windows that we talked about that are specially built with the warranty to look good, be functional, and to last. We also do vinyl windows. Also do storm impact windows. The doors, interior, exterior doors, French doors, sliding glass doors. The siding, we got vinyl siding or hardy plank siding. Shutters as well, interior, exterior shutters, and the shades for at Relief Windows. Those are available in all kinds of 14 curated swatches, manual, cordless, or remote motorized operation, custom measure, professionally installed. So you name it: windows, doors, siding, shutters, shades. Do you like it to call the friends at Relief Windows? Saw Mr. Brandon over at the 100-year birthday party at LeBear's for Guarantee Media, 288-8138, and ReliefWindows.com.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
I think Tennessee's found their starting quarterback for 2026. You familiar with Joey Aguilar? So yesterday, Aguilar filed a lawsuit in – well, if you were Joey Aguilar and you wanted to win a lawsuit – Knoxville, Tennessee. That's
Charlie.
Right. The NCAA granted – this is the junior college exemption, right? They granted, after the Diego Pavia case, just a blanket junior college kids last year, you're all eligible. Fine. This year they're saying, nope, you can't play. Aguilar's like, wait, but last year you let all of these guys do this, and you're not going to let it. No, we're just not. Well, why? Well, we don't need a reason. We're the NCAA. Okay, we're going to court again. Aguilar's, by the way, not enrolled at Tennessee right now. He's just kind of hanging out. Going to get into one of those mini semesters.
He'll rally.
Yeah,
in the classroom.
I'm sure. He entered City College of San Francisco in 2019. He will be 25 years old when the season starts next year.
Everybody's
but I would
eligible.
Not bet against
until otherwise noted.
First class, second class, and
I saw bars the way in too.
Yeah.
First
class, second class, no class when we return. Doe's Eat Plays live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And return here at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street, Mid-City for first class, second class, and no class. Start out with first class. College baseball lost a legend at the end of last week with the passing of longtime Stanford coach Mark Marquis. Marquis passed away at the age of 78. He was the coach at Stanford for 41 years. He retired as the fourth winningest coach in college baseball history, was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2021. And there are more than a few instances where his path crossed with LSU baseball. In 41 years, his teams made the NCAA tournament 30 times. They won 2 national championships, back-to-back years, 87 and 88. They were the runners-up 3 additional times. And he was also the coach of the Olympic team in 1988 in Seoul when the sport was played as a demonstration sport. Skip Bertman was an assistant on that team, and Ben McDonald was a player on that team in 1988 that won the gold medal. Everybody called him 9 after his jersey number, and we got a chance to interact with him multiple trips to the College World Series. But here's just a few of the things I remember as the big games between Stanford and LSU. And look, it swung both ways. 1987, LSU up at the College World Series, playing a game against Stanford, and Ben McDonald has told the story many times. Pitching to Paul Carey, with the bases loaded. Future Saints defensive back Toy Cook on second base, and Carey hit the ball out of the park. Stanford beat LSU, went on to win the national championship.
He wasn't the only one on base.
No, the bases were loaded.
Was that extra innings, right?
I thought it was the 9th, but it might have been.
It was either the 9th. It was the last. It was the 9th or extra innings, and LSU.
They didn't walk it off, but
it did.
They walked it off. I thought LSU batted after that. Okay,
no.
It won the game.
No, LSU.
It won the game for sure.
You don't remember what they did in the top? It's tied.
Help me out.
Scored 3.
Yeah, that's right.
How?
1987, Kirk Faulkner.
I think it was a Yurton bases clearing triple.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. McDonald's told that story many times and how it helped shape his career. He was a freshman, and he was. He talked about how it helped shape his career. Learning to deal with failure and all that. He's told that story at the first pitch banquet. It's a good story. 10 years later, LSU would face him in 1997 when Stanford's ace was Kyle Peterson, now the number one voice for ESPN television for college baseball. LSU beat a very good Stanford team, not once but twice, and smashed them both times. It was just an absolute slugfest. That was with the team that hit 188 home runs in 1997. LSU would go on to win the College World Series. And then in 2000, when they faced off, one game for the national title. And, Jimmy, I remember the press conference well, where Marquis had a choice to make. He had Justin Wayne and Jason Young. Wayne was the number 5 pick in the draft overall, and Young would be a second-round pick, a high second-round pick, and he had to decide which one was going to start. It wasn't 2 out of 3 back then. It was best, who was going to start. And he pitched
both.
And he pitched Young to start and Wayne in relief.
And it was pretty much – it was right in the middle of the game. It was
right. It was
planned. It wasn't, just like he's going to be my first bullpen guy.
Yeah.
And help me out, Talent and
Talent started the game. Trey Hodges finished.
And it wasn't too much different from LSU's approach.
No, Talent gave up a grand slam in that game. LSU fell behind, and in those middle innings, LSU went about 4 innings without getting a hit, maybe even 5. Before the classic Blair Barbier at bat, where he fouled off pitch after pitch after pitch before he finally hit the home run, and then Jeremy Whitten hit a home run, and then, well, you know how it ended with Cressy walking it off. But that was a great Stanford team as well. If LSU had to play them 2 out of 3 times, Stanford would have been favored. I can tell you that.
Stanford was favored in that game?
They would have been favored in a 2 out of 3 because LSU's pitching dropped off after you got past the first 2, and Stanford's didn't.
How many times came down to the last game, LSU's? They beat Coastal 2 straight. All the rest were do or die. 91, 93, 96, 97, 98, 2000. Not 98, but 2000. So the first 5 for sure. Texas
2009 was a game 3. In 2017 when they lost,
they were underdog most of the time. 91 and 93 they were.
Yeah.
96 they were.
They were. They were favored in
97. LSU was favored.
Alabama had to play the extra game to get to the final.
2000, Stanford was favored.
Yes, they were,
Yeah.
and they would have been. They would have even been a bigger favorite to have been 2 out of 3.
I think Texas was a slight favorite. It was very, very close.
It was. That was pretty close to pick it. Yeah.
I think Texas was the slightest of favorite. So
that was Marquis was great, and we enjoyed. I enjoyed visiting with him. I will remember that the 2000 press conference before the game where Bertman was talking about the 87 game. He says, yeah, Paul Carey hit that wind-dated home run, and Marcus looked at him like, not how I saw it, Coach. So he was a true ambassador for college baseball, and like I said, more than a few interactions with Skip Bertman and the LSU program over the years.
So the we're both right. It was not Yurton. It was Faulkner for the 3-run double. Yeah. It wasn't a 10th inning, though.
10th inning. Okay.
It wasn't a 10th inning. It was extra innings.
Okay.
And it was a 1-out grand slam for Carey.
Heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking.
That was back when before the it was 118 bracket, and it could be a little confusing. Mm-hmm. And I think it left just LSU would have been one of 3 teams. They were when they were knocked out, there were 3 teams left. In 87. Yeah. So they would have been playing Texas or something. Also Stanford and LSU. Both
it was Texas. Stanford had to play Texas and beat them. Oklahoma State was still alive.
Yeah.
And that's who Stanford beat for the national.
We lost to Oklahoma State earlier for our first loss.
Yeah.
So,
was that the Incaviglia team? Was
no,
he was before
I think it was Ventura. Might have been Ventura. I'm not sure.
Ventura with the 58-game hit streak that year.
But LSU 6th overall in most College World Series appearances. Stanford 9th.
Yeah, they were in the CWS. What did I say? 13 times under Marquis. And 5 times made the finals and twice won it. He will be missed.
And also the shift in sort of the SEC becoming more money and just the Pac-12. Kind of his teams toward the end, not quite as strong.
No, they weren't. He went to his last World Series in 2008. He coached until 17. Now they hosted a bunch of played in a bunch of super regionals by then, but they really dipped off after he left for about 3 or 4 years. Now they've been to the College World Series 3 of the last 5 years, so they're on the rebound.
Okay.
West Coast baseball, it's so different than it was then. Fullerton is not the power that they once were. USC is not the power that they once were. Long Beach, Irvine, none of them are quite as good as they were back in their heyday. Rest in peace, Marquis, longtime coach at Stanford. Good with a chance to be great. Second class, LSU softball starts on Thursday. They are ranked 16th in the country to open the season. They got once again a really daunting non-conference schedule. They do that every year. Every year that Beth Torina has been there, they have played a top 10 schedule in National College Baseball. Torina is nothing else if not consistent. LSU has been in the postseason every year she has been here. They've been to the College World Series 3 times. They've been in Super Regionals 4 times in the last 7 years. Problem is they haven't been back to Oklahoma City since 2017. The SEC has long since taken over from the old Pac-12, Pac-10, as the preeminent power in softball. So much so that LSU has finished 6th, and 9th the last 4 years, but has hosted regionals every one of those years and has hosted a super regional in one of those years. This is one of those ones where she has been very, very good, just has not quite been able to get over the hump of late. And last year, despite getting off to a great start and having a 42-16 team, they lost to Southeastern in the regional. Jimmy, I don't think that there should be any pressure on her as far as job security, but I understand the frustration with the softball fans that you've been close, and just not being able to get over that hump with LSU softball. So they start again. She's in the top 15 every year. Every year you can go down the rankings, but 15th in the country means 10th in the league.
How many
9th or 10th
how
in the
many
league.
years has she been here?
She's been here since 2012.
Okay, so this is the 15th year 14 seasons. How many times she been to the to Oklahoma City?
This is her 15th season. She's been to the College World Series 3 times.
3 out of 14. When's the last trip?
17. It's been a while. It's been a while.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not just plateau, but it's a slight dip from basically that top 8, which usually makes it to sort of the second 8. Fair?
Yeah. If we wanted to compare this to basketball, this is like making the Super Regional is like making a Sweet 16. No, not LSU's basketball in general.
Oh, Charlie.
If a college, not this college basketball coach, if a college basketball coach had made the Sweet 16, had made the NCAA tournament 7 straight years, and had made the Sweet 16 4 of those 7 years, what would you think about that coach?
I just think my dad used to laugh his ass off when we'd watch Sanford and Son in the back room. I feel like Elizabeth. You got me, Charlie.
Well,
she's dipped. She's got. You would think she has the resources. I don't know how much is the new roster building affected her, but this dip started before then. I mean, we were in the mix every year. Either
they're still in the mix every year.
I know, but they haven't been to the Oklahoma City, and there's a lot in the SEC has taken over softball.
Yeah.
There's more SEC. It's more advantageous to be in an SEC.
They finished 9th in the league last year and hosted a regional. Think about that for a second. 9th in the league and hosted a regional.
Look at all sports. I mean, you're an SEC, and that's why a lot of college basketball teams. I'm looking at it right now. Who's our friends in Omaha? Checked out Creighton this year.
They're down.
Okay, well, guess what?
Down.
The whole Big East is down. And he said that. It was, when I talked to a college coach, man, everybody's trying to get the SEC. Man, you think, man, this Big East program's pretty good. Why would it? No, they're all looking to get out the Big East and get into where the athletic budget is bigger overall. And so, no, I mean, if you think, be careful what you wish for. Are you going to be, good every year? But they were really good for a stretch. I mean, it took her how long to get to her first Oklahoma City appearance?
17, 16, 15, 3 years.
3 years, and then you go 3 times out of basically
every
other
time.
time.
3 years in a row.
3 years in a row.
3 years in a row.
And hadn't been there since.
Haven't been since.
So.
And look, it's just getting harder.
With some of the teams coming to Tiger Park and beating you too. Like at ULL.
Losing to Southeastern last year is
difficult. Southeastern.
Difficult.
And ULL knocked him out one year?
Yeah. Well, in fact, I think they've knocked him out more than once.
Okay, but I mean.
But, yeah. That's and look, it just got harder, okay? Because you added Oklahoma and Texas to this league. Texas won the national title last year. Oklahoma, I think, had won 6 of the previous 8. No,
but nobody's holding you to where you got to win it, okay? But there are a lot of SEC teams doing really well. You should get there. You should get there more regularly. And but you make a change, you might not be hosted. Period. So I don't know enough. You?
No.
About the landscape of college softball?
I follow it enough to know this. She schedules aggressively. They usually start well, and they are always really good, but they have not been elite. Okay, the top of the SEC is the elite of the sport, and they haven't been there in a while.
Because
they're always really good.
5 years, it looked like I'm glad this guy got left us at the altar, because it just hasn't been at that level.
They open up with NC State on Thursday at Tiger Park, part of a round robin with LSU
the thing
and
that
NC State in
stings,
Nevada.
not just about the Stanford, because you scored 3 in the top of the 10th. How many times you scored 3 in the top of the 10th and lose?
No.
And then it was an oppo job against Ben. Against a guy like Carey, who wasn't much of a, some stud or anything.
No.
They went on to win it.
They did.
We didn't mention that.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did. They beat Oklahoma State.
Well,
that's when I asked
they
you
had
about
to beat
it.
the Texas
first
9-3.
Yeah, I said that.
And then Oklahoma State 9-5. Okay,
that's when I asked
sorry.
you about it. Could be
I'm turning into Max.
No class this week. We got to do something about this Hall of Fame voting. All right, I got something wrong last week. I speculated that Bill Belichick's exclusion from the Hall of Fame might have had something to do with some lobbying from Robert Kraft, the owner, who he and Belichick aren't exactly chummy at this point in their relationship, despite all of the success.
Oh, so now Belichick's lobbying against him.
No, Kraft didn't get in today either.
Oh.
So now I'm tempted to say that this is all about Spygate. you could say with Belichick, well, we knew he was going to get it anyway. Kraft has been on the ballot since 2013. This is not his first. This is his first time getting this far, but this is not his first time on the ballot. So, if you're going to put Jerry Jones in, if you're going to put Pat Bowlen in, the late Pat Bowlen, and you're going to recognize owners in the contributors category, then Robert Kraft has to go in. He has to go in.
Was Kraft the owner when Parcells went and played Green Bay? The Brett Favre game.
No, he was. Okay. No, he bought
because he gets
all the championships.
He gets a little notch for this team getting back.
Yeah,
without Brady and Belichick. I mean,
yes, he does. And so you have to tell me if you have an up or down vote on Robert Kraft, why you're voting against him. And we heard a little bit about
conduct away from the office.
I don't think that's it. Maybe for some.
How many?
Maybe for some.
Well, it doesn't. All it takes is some. All it takes is 20%.
Takes 10 votes. 10 votes.
So both had some some things. Some how many coaches got fined. The teams got fined because of using electronic equipment to spy on an opponent.
I mean,
how many?
You have to give me a reason. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how many.
One.
He actually did on the Patriots when they went against Green Bay. He had just bought out the majority of it.
You've done this before with other people, after with other people. Yeah. You're putting your team in a pretty good position to win. And he certainly pulled the trigger. He ain't letting Vrabel get away. Gerard Mayo, I'm not in the business of one and done, but firing. But I know Vrabel's better, so he secured that as well. But it's just both have been involved with in some conduct in the whole, everything that every voter that sits in that room tells you. Everything counts. Everything should count, and that's fair. And so they're discussing some of his mishaps away from the office. Okay, they're discussing the Spygate. I think the Deflategate is complete garbage to me. Okay?
I think it's about Spygate. I think it's about Spygate.
So both they just want to make them. Are both going to get there? Yes, but both they want to. There's enough of them. 20%. They want to make them sweat a little bit.
That original story that came out that said you're basically going to serve a 1-year suspension on getting into the Hall of Fame for what you did.
Yes.
Then just say that. Just say that rather than this cloak and dagger stuff that we're dealing with, because the vote doesn't come out until Thursday night anyway. All right, so I guess we're assuming that Anderson.
What is the probability these guys are going to get in the Hall?
Eventually they will.
All three of them can't get in if the report is true that Belichick was short by like 1 vote. Someone came out and said he had 39. That would be mathematically impossible if for 3 players to get in.
Because you can vote for 3 out of the 5 contributors.
3. As many as 3 of the 5 can get in.
Right. And if nobody gets 40 votes, then it's the highest vote getter gets in. Okay. So at least one of the 3 players is getting in, maybe 2. Ken Anderson, L.C. Greenwood, Roger Craig. I don't know. It's a little bit – I understand that these votes are private. It's a little bit too much cloak and dagger for me. If you're going to tell me that these 2 guys, with their credentials, are not in, you have to tell me
more the players – I think more so than the players, the conduct matters because it's so rare. Because we've seen so many players have their mishaps off the field. We've seen so many.
Yeah, then tell me that, because I don't. I can deal with that a lot more than I can deal with. Well, we're just not sure if he deserves it.
Character. You have not heard that the character matters when they talk about these guys.
Not from anybody. Not from anybody that votes. Okay.
Oh, I've heard. I have never heard a voter say that everything matters. Everything matters.
That's a convenient way of lumping everything in to say, tell me this is why, okay? I can accept that.
They're going to get in.
Yeah, they are. But
they're giving them, they're putting them in timeout for a little bit.
Yep.
They don't like, there's a chunk of them that don't like, and some of their stuff was, not honorable.
No question.
Okay.
Spygate was a big deal. If you're telling me that's a reason, I'll accept that.
And I'm sorry, but most of these guys are media guys. Most have been in the media at some point?
Yes.
Okay, good. With very few, like a very small percentage of that most has probably dealt with Belichick as well. And I'm sorry.
Tony Dungy votes. I mean, he's a media, but he's a former
yeah,
coach,
but
obviously.
I don't really count him as media. I'm sorry.
No, you should.
He's way more of a coach and a player
You asked
than
me
he
if they're
ever
all in
was
the media. Yes, Tony Dungy's in the media, but that's not why he's, on that list.
Bill Polian, James Lofton, Dan Fouts also on the list as former Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
yeah,
some of those
mostly
competitors. I mean, you think Dungy was happy when he found out that they were using electronic equipment to spy people?
He should not.
Yeah, okay.
He should have been steamed. We're brought to you, first class, second class, no class, brought to you by Supreme Rice at SupremeRice.com. Part of the Climate Smart program, ensuring future generations of Louisiana farmers are able to take advantage of all the things here about talking about water conservation, reducing methane emissions. Pick up Supreme Rice wherever you buy rice, save some money, and get a delicious product like the Powerball rice, which is restaurant quality, the Jasmine, which we love at our house, the low glycemic rice, perfect for diabetics, brown, long grain, medium grain. Pick it up at all your AG food stores, your Walmart, your Rouses, wherever you buy rice. Grown, milled, and processed here in Louisiana. For more information, go to SupremeRice.com. Live at lunch from Doe's, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let me correct myself from something I said when we were talking about the LSU softball. Beth Thrino, 4 trips to the College World Series, including her first year. I had the year she started in error by 1. So she went the first year in 2012 and 3 straight from 15 to 17 at Oklahoma City. So my bad on that. Max, your Live golfers got a victory today. Live Golf for the first time is going to get world golf ranking points for top 10s. I thought we were just about ready to bury Live Golf. I mean, they got Koepka back. They're getting Patrick Reed back. I imagine it's only a matter of time before they get Bryson DeChambeau back.
No more caddies in the private jets.
The caddies have lost their private jets. I thought we were winding down on this thing, and now the official world golf rankings are going to give them a little shot in the arm. What's this about?
Yeah, so this has been a process for quite some time. Trevor Immelman, who does the CBS broadcast for the PGA Tour, he's involved. He's kind of the head of the official world golf ranking, which is recognized. It's important. It might sound like what's the big deal about a ranking, but it is determinant on who gets in the majors.
Yeah,
so it's harder for live players.
That's exemption rated. That matters.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And so if you're trying to get majors, it was hard to get in. At this point, they're only going to allow the top 10 in the individual stroke play of Live to get ranking points, and will be heavily based on who wins. So it's very top-heavy. And the criticism they've had from some time for Live is it's a closed circuit. There were very few players who were allowed into the field once it was already set. And then recently they've actually they've tried to rebrand some of these teams. They kicked off a Japanese player because he was on the Ironheads, which is now rebranded to the Korean Golf Club. So because he wasn't Korean, he was kicked off the tour, basically. So they were critical of that in the statement today. But they will get some world ranking points, and it does favor the Tyrrell Hattons, maybe some of these guys who don't have exemptions already but are still playing good golf. Louis Oosthuizen is one who maybe would have lost exemptions. Patrick Reed would have been almost about to lose exemptions, but now he is just going to play on the DP World Tour this year until he gets back on the PGA Tour next season. So it's a way for Liv to survive, I guess, in terms of majors, but still it's going to be very, very much tougher for Liv players to get major fields at this point.
While I agree that it's ridiculous that Jon Rahm is ranked 97th in the world, I think we all know he's better than the 97th best golfer in the world. I got an easier solution than all of that stuff you just said about all of these different toys. How about get Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Tyrrell Hatton, who am I leaving out?
Joaquin Neiman.
Joaquin Neiman. For sure. Your guy, a mustache guy, Jimmy. What's his name? Cam Smith. Okay. How about we bring
Mullet Man,
not
Dustin
mustache
Johnson,
man.
I guess.
No, just Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson's retired from competitive golf. He's retired from competitive golf. He's retired from competing. He just played. How about we bring those guys back to the PGA Tour and shut all this crap down?
Be great.
They're going to. They're coming one by one. I'm not so crazy about the CBS is just big welcoming party for Brooks Koepka. So it was a little much, man, with the commercials, with the interviews, with the coverage of how many shots he had. I understand it was a blowout, but damn.
I'm happy that they put the golf on TV.
I know.
I'm maybe not happy about why, but I'm happy that they put the golf on TV.
What's changed? What's changed since you've been back? Amanda asked him in the post round. I don't know half the guys. Well, yeah, dude. We're moving on. We're going to move on without you, with or without you.
CBS may have thrown him a party. Those guys didn't.
I hope he got a little bit more of a cold shoulder treatment from the veteran players, in the locker room.
Certainly
because it was. Yeah, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to take a shot at Liv. It's kind of flex a little bit. It was kind of a weak move. More like we admit we really missed while you were at Liv. I thought they missed on it. Great drone shots up. Of La Jolla.
More golf on TV is fine.
I want to see you on a paraglide.
No, Max.
No, come on.
Guess what? Bet all you want because you ain't winning that one, Max. No, don't put that to a top. Not even a top 10. Not even a top 10. Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance, 480-1000. Now is the time. If your unit was serviced over the summer, if it is over 10 years old, call us up at 480-1000. We'll send a tech over. We'll evaluate the system to make sure, saying, yes, this is the time. Why now is because now in the wintertime, you get up to $5,500 off on discounts on select systems. Now's the time is going to be the cheapest to replace that unit. Got to replace them at some time. They don't last forever. Call Total Maintenance 480-1000 and ask for a technician to come out and evaluate your system. Over 10 years old, was serviced this past summer, about the possibilities of replacement. Total Maintenance 480-1000.
Live at Doe's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch. Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Veteran handicapper Ace Seminara joins us right now from New York, getting ready for the Super Bowl Sunday, and we'll do that. We'll get Super Bowl picks, and also 3 games in college basketball. Tuesdays and Wednesdays during the week are the best. Ace, let's start with the Super Bowl. Seattle 4.5 right now, and you're looking at an alt line with this Seattle-New England matchup.
How are you, Jimmy? I certainly am. I mean, what a week. Besides all the big, huge college basketball games, you can't get anything better than Super Bowl week. Really looking forward to it. And certainly you've had a lot of information coming in and a lot of opinions on both sides. When it comes down to it, and I'm looking at this game, my eyes are telling me that it certainly is going to be maybe a battle where both teams are not going to hold back. But I feel at some point in the game, late in the game especially, Seattle, with their defensive line, especially DeMarcus Lawrence, he's already forced 3 fumbles in the playoffs. Going up against Will Campbell, we know the issues he's had protecting May, and May's had 6 fumbles in the playoffs already. At some point, maybe one of those, that lets the game get out of hand, and that's why I like the alternate spread of Seattle. A lot of Super Bowls do get out of hand, a la last year, where late in the game, it's not going to be close, not going to be pretty. I think Seattle is just going to be able to wear down on them, and late in the play, lay that 13.5, and why not get back 245 on your money? I like them, obviously, laying the 4.5 as well. But as a secondary wager, why not go for that alternate spread and look for that payout of plus 245? All
right, minus 13.5 is paying plus 245 with that one. All right, listen, the divisional round, the 1-2 punch of Walker and Charbonnet became a one-man punch. Torn ACL for Charbonnet, former Michigan and UCLA running back, went back to hometown to finish his college career. He tore his ACL in the divisional round against San Francisco. In steps George Halani. You're looking at a rushing total for him.
I am. Obviously, yes, somebody's got to pick up those carries. Walker's been a workhorse, and certainly you can't just drive the guy into the ground. When he does, tap that helmet and he wants somebody to come on in for him, it's going to be Halani. And he's going to get a handful of rushes, 15-plus yards. If he gets 4 carries, I got to believe he's going to get that. 3 to 4 carries, he's going to get that figure, and that's plus 145. I just like that payback, especially being that he's obviously going to have to play a much bigger role now with Charbonnet being out.
Well, great minds think alike, Charlie. You play every year. Ace is on one. Over 2.5 players to attempt a pass at plus 175. Ace, my boy.
The odds were a lot juicier 10 years ago
yes.
on this.
Yes, but this could be a gadget play with an extra week to prepare. This could be an injury and a guy comes in. So a little bit of everything here. You like over 2.5 players to attempt to pass plus 175.
I do. I absolutely do like that one. And, McDaniel, veteran of Super Bowls, if the way I feel the game is going to go, that Seattle's going to have a lead, I certainly wouldn't be shocked to see the Patriots pull out a couple of halfback option passes or a wide receiver, reverse throw back to the quarterback. Somebody else besides those two starting quarterbacks that are going to attempt to pass in this game. You don't play the last game of the year and play it cautiously. It's pull out all the stops, and I really feel like late in the game, New England's not going to have any choice but to maybe throw in some of those plays, and I certainly wouldn't be shocked for McDaniel to dial one of those up and get the over 2.5 players to attempt to pass, which is getting back plus 175. And I heard your buddy chuckling there. Yeah, that's one of those old ones that us old school players have been in the Super Bowl, have been playing for many years, and a lot of times it doesn't hit, but just for entertainment value, I think getting back 175, that's something that you could definitely look at.
Hey, if you know, right, and I didn't prep you, so if you don't know this right off the top of your head, what is it to complete the pass? How much more are you getting to complete it rather than just attempt it?
For any other player to attempt?
Yeah, for over 2.5 players to complete a pass rather than attempt.
I did not look that up, to be honest with you. Should have had that already ready, but I don't have that available.
No problem. I was just curious if you knew, because obviously it's going to be.
It's got to be close to double, Charlie.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So if you really want to get daring about it, see if they complete the doggone thing.
Yes, indeed.
That's a good point. Absolutely a good point. I mean, certainly the amount of wagers now that there are there on the Super Bowl is just gone way overboard. You being able to cross sports as well, from basketball to even the Phoenix Open and passing yards. I mean, it's gotten to be to the point where you can literally wager on every single play of the Super Bowl. So as much as that could be fun, it could also be something that could cost you a lot of money. So, plan out what you're going to do in advance and obviously hope to have a successful day on Sunday.
All right, Ace, let's get to college basketball. We got 3 games, and let's start off in the SEC. And Tennessee Volunteers at 5-3 in the league against Ole Miss at 3-5 in the league. And, Ole Miss has kind of been a puzzle for me because, Beard in his 3rd year in Oxford, who was so close to advancing to the Elite Eight last year, blew that game in the Sweet 16 round, Michigan State, or they would have been in the Elite Eight. And then they had coming back, Malik Dia was coming back. They had a guy like A.J. Storr. They had some backcourt help off overseas from France, and we know Beard can flat out coach. I was just puzzling why they have struggled a little bit this year. Now they take on Tennessee, who is 5-3. This line is creeping up as well. It's going from 11.5 currently right now. Our 2 friends here, the DraftKings outlets at Bally's in the Queen. It's up to 12.5. Ace.
Well, I like that movement, and obviously you can understand why, as you just mentioned. Mississippi has had their issues. I think a lot of that, certainly, trying to incorporate the new players on there. It's taken Storr a while to get his feet under him. Certainly playing a lot better. I do like the fact that Coach Beard plays a 10-man rotation. And I do like the fact that with their slow pace of play, the center being out for Tennessee, Okpora, he's always been known as a half-court coach, Rick Barnes, for Tennessee. He doesn't want to get into a running-gun game. I think 12.5 points with a slow pace of play with this game. And one of the reasons, again, Mississippi, this is going to be their 6th road game out of the first 9 in the conference. They're going to finish up the schedule really, really nice with playing 7 out of their last 9 at home. So either one of these games, this one or at Texas, if they can get one of these outright, I still would not rule out this team because I am a big believer in Coach Beard as being a hell of a coach. And they do have enough talent definitely to keep this 12.5-point spread to stay under there. And what I expect to be a slow-paced kind of a game. Give me Mississippi and the Rebels plus 12.5.
Yeah, even though they've lost 3 in a row, they have covered 5 of the last 6. So in this stretch,
they have.
The only one that they've missed is against Auburn.
And had that tough loss last week at Vandy where they literally had a chance late in the game to come back and win.
Yeah, to win it outright,
Yeah, certainly haven't given up on the coaches at all. I think that there's still a lot of season left for the Rebels. That's right.
All right. SMU, we saw them down in New Orleans against LSU. That's their best win in a neutral site where the McKinnon kid went like 7 of 8, 6 of 7 from three-point range to give them that. But SMU, clearly a tournament team, but now are they starting to slip from tournament contention? Well, they're still in as of now, but if you look, they have lost now 4 of 7 in ACC play, and the ACC not exactly the strongest conference, including a Saturday in Louisville at the Yum Center where they had the lead to start off and then could not even compete, don't even cover as they lose 88-74. Will Wade, we know about him around here. He's at NC State. They have won now 4 in a row in conference play, including Clemson's only home loss in conference play. They are now 7-2, 2 behind the undefeated Blue Devils in ACC play. NC State travels to Dallas to take on SMU. NC State a slight favorite. Ace, you're looking at the money line here.
Yeah, it was 1.5 last night. I see the lines now jumped to 2.5. Why even mess with that spread? Jump on the money line, 142. Coach Wade, as you guys know him well, did a tremendous job at McNeese, and before that, they ran him out of town at LSU with some issues. 5-0 on the road, he's got his team playing in the ACC. Number 7 in the country in three-point shooting at 39.9%. They rained down 16 three-pointers on Wake Forest on Saturday. And yeah, SMU, as you mentioned, lost 3 out of their last 3 and 4 in their last 7. They hit that high point, ambushed North Carolina early January, jumped into the top 25, and since then, it's just been one of those back and forth games where they haven't beaten anybody solid other than North Carolina. They lost to Virginia, lost to Duke, lost to Clemson, as you mentioned, lost to Louisville. So they're beating up on the weaker teams in the ACC. They're going to have a tough time against NC State Wolfpack that are peaking right now at the right time.
USC and Indiana on the second game of their L.A. road trip. They beat UCLA in a tight one on Saturday in Pauley to improve to 6-5 in the league. USC, man, they're playing close games. Even at home against Rutgers, 3-point win. They had a 1-point loss at Iowa, 2-point win at Madison against Wisconsin, and a 6-point and 5-point losses to Purdue and Northwestern. Last 5 games, all within 6 points. They're playing them close. Is Musselman's Trojans and USC. Now they catch Indiana at home. Indiana got to be feeling pretty good after a good win in Pauley. Now they go across town to USC to take on the Trojans, who are 5-6. This is basically a pick'em in this one, Ace.
Certainly 2 bubble teams, and pick them now with that game. It's a tough task to ask a team to go on the road and win that double of UCLA, USC. Used to be all the time in the Pac-12. Now these are Big Ten teams, and you're asking them to do the same thing. They had lost 4 straight, looked like their season was falling apart there. DeVries transferring over there with his son. He's got a pure scorer in Lamar Wilkerson for Indiana, averaging 19 points a game. After losing 4 straight, it looked their season was falling apart. Well, they've won 3 straight now, including beating Purdue at home and then getting that double overtime win at UCLA on Saturday. I just think asking them to now go on the road to USC is going to be asking a lot. Chad Baker-Mazzara, transfer from Auburn, really now hitting his stride, become the leading scorer and a true leader, 18.8 points a game. He was really their closer at the end of the year last year, Auburn. He was taking their big shots late in the game. You could tell the confidence that he's playing with right now. And Coach Eric Musselman, the guy's been everywhere. He wins everywhere he goes. He's absolutely going to get this team ready and prepared tonight, and I wouldn't expect anything less than a top-notch effort for them. I expect them to ambush Indiana tonight as well. Let's get on USC on the money line. Remove that 1 point and give me the 115. In some places, I'm even seeing them now as underdogs. You want to give me the 1 point? I'll gladly take it.
Here's your comp picks, but call Ace and get this whole menu of picks, and no pressure, no phone bank. You got to talk to him. Give us that number to get in touch with you, Ace.
Yeah, I'm releasing everything on a text service. All you got to do is text the word free picks to 631-805-6165. You'll receive daily free picks texted to your phone of college basketball, NBA, and until Sunday, the Super Bowl props as well. So again, just text the word free picks to 631-805-6165. 631-6165, and you'll receive all the top free picks that I look at every single day.
631-805-6165. 631-805-6165. Ace, good luck to you, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Enjoy the Super Bowl, Jimmy.
And we will come back and wrap things up here at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City, live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Memphis Grizzlies have been shopping John Moran around the league here for a few weeks, not getting any takers on that, but they did find one for Jaren Jackson Jr. Grizzlies are trading Jackson to Utah for $3. It's a complicated deal with a lot of players in it, but the principles of this is Triple J's going over there for 3 first-round picks. See if they can find anybody to take John Moran off their hands. They haven't had any luck so far, but they're retooling the roster. Up in Memphis.
Sounds great.
Okay. Thought I'd pass that along.
Yeah, it's hard to follow. It's hard to give a crap about a regular season that the players don't.
College basketball tonight. Light schedule. The league is half the league has got the midweek off in the SEC. So just 2 games tonight, 2 games tomorrow.
Why is that?
They have an extra game because they start on a weekend and they end on a weekend. So with 18 games, they have basically one bye spot. So half of them are off this week and half of them are off some other week.
An 18-game schedule. We started later. The SEC started so much later than everybody else. I mean, you got Big Ten playing
there's
like
19
five
spots,
games
basically.
or so.
They had to play games in December just to get them all in with the amount of
so
teams
some this week and some midweek next week.
Yeah,
is gonna happen.
8 teams off this Tuesday and Wednesday. 8 teams off next week.
Okay, I keep forgetting we got 16 in the league. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going through it. I was wondering why. Are they going to make that? Are they going to switch that, or is does Ole Miss lose that away game this past week? Because they
played in Nashville.
Yeah, they flipped to Nashville. They were supposed to play in Oxford. Ole Miss got 2 weeks of school off, because they got hit that hard last weekend this week.
That. Thanks to our friends here at Doe's Eat Place for being our host today. Tomorrow we are at Modesto, corner of Nicholson and Burbank. Randy McKay will be with us along with Wes Reynolds. We'll get their Super Bowl thoughts, and Scott Rabley from The Advocate. From all of us here at Doe's, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.